And then from there, I got sent to Camp Pendleton to field med school. And I think that's another 8 weeks, maybe 10 weeks. And that's like your indoctrination into the Marine Corps, right? You know, I would say more than half the staff is all Marines, Marines. And then there's all Fleet Marine Force corpsmen that are also running it. And that's your combat trauma, right? And then from there, I went to RIP, got up at, I think it was in Horno, and then got sick at RIP, and they said, you're going to go to Hawaii now. You're out. You're done. I said, I think I'm done. I'm not feeling good. And they were like, well, you're a training risk, so you can hang out for an undetermined amount of time.
What'd you have, though? What?
Well, I ended up inhaling poison oak. And just I remember being on the pool deck, you know, for days later and just feeling awful from it. You know, I had like anaphylactic shock, high core temp, I think it was like 104. And I was just sick for like a few days after. And I'm like, I don't know that I have this right now. So I went and talked to the gunny, and he was like, yeah, you're out, you know. And I think I was done anyway, because I remember talking to corpsmen that had gone, like the corpsmen that were at RIP, and those guys were at First Recon, and a lot of them had just come from Okinawa, so they were with 3rd Recon, and MARSOC hadn't been, you know, there was no MARSOC at the time, and the pipeline just seemed, I knew I wasn't going to be in for longer. I didn't want to be in longer than for my enlistment.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, all right, so I basically said, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So I go back to the detailer, and this fucking guy sends me to 3rd CSSG in Hawaii. And I'm like, what the hell is CSSG, right? And it's a bow unit, it's supply. So I'm devastated, because all my boys from Field Med went to 2-4, 3-5.
Yeah, West Coast units.
West Coast infantry units.
Yeah.
And now I'm like sick to my stomach. I don't even care that I'm going to Hawaii. I don't care about that. And these kids are getting ready to deploy. But whatever, I don't have a choice. So they send me there, and I show up, and this guy, senior chief, his name's Mike Bish. Wicked solid dude. I walk into his office, and he's like, don't unpack your bags. I said, okay. He goes, we got a room for you, but this was on a Friday. He said, Monday, you're to report to, I had to report to the motor T-Bay area. And he was like, you're going to try out for this thing. It's called an embedded training team. He goes, nope. Guy was such a good guy, but I can remember him saying this. It's the goofiest thing looking back on it. He goes, it should be pretty cool. I hear they're going to get to carry M4s. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, all right, dude. Whatever.
Yeah.
So I show up, and there's a team, basically a team assembled. And there was 2 other corpsmen, this kid Rob Lopez, who ended up staying on the team, and another guy that I don't remember. And the team was being run by this guy named Lieutenant Colonel Duke. And this guy was on his way out the door, man. I bet he was, at the time, he was probably pushing 50.
No shit.
Yeah. He was old.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to go. Right? Like, you could tell.
Yeah.
So we did like a week of training. We got our Humvee licenses, right? Like our qualifications to drive. We drove around K-Bay for a week.
Yeah.
And then they gave us that. The following Monday, he was gone mysteriously, and John Dupree, Major John Dupree, shows up. Next thing you know, like 5 or 6 more guys are gone, and that's when Spratty, Mike Gerbaugh, Art Anderson, Dave Willis. I think you know Dave, right?
I think I met him.
guy.
Infantry?
Yeah, yeah.
No.
Fallujah guy.
No. I don't know.
Unbelievable kid.
Yeah.
Salt of the earth from Eugene, Oregon. I mean, one of the best guys I've ever known. He basically brought in this crew, and I'll never forget. He was like, somebody told me, you guys, they needed somebody to take you boys to war. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
And then he put this workup package together, Ethan. Unbelievable. For conventional guys from all different walks in the Marine Corps, it's never been matched.
Yeah,
I guarantee it.
Yeah.
It was sick.
Yeah. What'd you guys do?
So we were everywhere. We went, we started, training in K-Bay together. And then the first thing we did was we went to, do you remember going through, there's that picture of us sitting on the Humvee. We went through backcountry driving course.
Yeah, but we did it in 29 Palms, though.
Right.
Yeah.
So, we were the first team to go through this process, right? That school was in West Virginia. Mm-hmm. And it was in the mountains of West Virginia. I don't remember the name of the town. I can tell you that there was a strip club there called Vixen's. So if you Google Vixen's in West Virginia,
yeah,
that town or one of the surrounding towns, that's where we were. And it was like a camping trip. Mm-hmm. And that's when I found out about became, really into Toyotas, like Toyota 4Runners, Tacomas, that kind of thing. Because we showed up and, I'm picturing we're going to be driving Jeeps or whatever. And we show up and it's all Toyota 4Runners to start. And then we graduated to Humvees. But it was like a 3-week class. We camped out in the woods and we just did off-road driving.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
That's sick, dude.
It was sick.
That's
right?
That's awesome.
So they obviously got the contract for that, and then they sent them out to 29 Palms later. Because I remember talking to the guy. I'm like, "What are you guys doing here? Why isn't it the same?" Well, that's because they can't mass produce the course, right? Out there in West Virginia, they can do it at 29 Palms.
Yeah.
So we did the first course of that. Then we went to this other contracting school. It was like a gun sight course where it was all intro to foreign weapons, right? AK-47s, PKMs, Dragunovs, the real basic shit that we knew we were going to encounter while we were there. A bunch of the Marines went off to some school in Arizona, which was a foreign weapons instructor's course later in the package. We did that, and then that same school also put us through an evasive driving skills school. So they took us out to some open track where we were chasing each other around in Crown Vics and learning pit maneuvers.
Did you guys do that in North Carolina or in Moyock?
No, it was all right in the Virginia
area.
Virginia area.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Then we did a broke down 2-week language school. I feel like I'm missing a couple schools, but we did a bunch.
No shit.
And then we got split up, and then me, Rob Lopez, and Charles Mark, my 2 senior corpsmen, they sent us out to Bridgeport, and we did the high altitude, cold weather, warm weather medicine school. We did assault climbers and mountain leaders course.
No shit.
That's when the Marines went off. They came up to 29 Palms too. We did Bridgeport. We did a team package there. And that might have been part of the assault climbers stuff. They might have been there for that too. But then they went off, a bunch of them went off to that foreign weapons instructor school. I think it was in Arizona. Some guys went to, a couple kids, I believe, went to a field mechanic school, right? How to repair cars on the fly out in the middle of nowhere kind of thing. It was pretty dope, dude.
That's wild.
It was awesome.
Yeah, especially compared to the package when we went through when we were with you. And I joined at halfway through. They were still doing stuff in K-Bay. I don't think they had done anything yet.
No.
Because I got there in, I think, August or September. And me and you got there the same day. It was the same time.
Yep.
And then that's when we did a few things in K-Bay, I remember. Mm-hmm. Oh, do you remember that Sergeant Major that came out with the IED lanes at Bellows? He'd come running out. You'd hit a smoke bomb, and he'd come running out of the woods and just go, "You're dead."
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember it now.
You're dead. And he's like, "What do you do?"
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Yeah, his limbs are over there. You're like,
yeah. He's bald, supermoto, former Marine, fucking gunny or Sergeant Major. He comes sprinting through the woods.
He was a civilian at the time?
Yeah, he was. He was a civilian. Yeah.
No shit.
And you just see him running. You're like, "What the fuck is this bald guy?"
Yeah.
And he just taps on your door. You're dead.
I have vague memories of that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. We did a few lanes like that. I remember it was IED lanes. It was pretty, I don't say watered down, but it was kind of one of those things you're from what you were talking about to what we went through. It was okay, you guys watered this down now. This is getting,
well, they had to, they had to make it for, mass production, essentially. Right?
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
So, because I was saying earlier, I don't remember, I'll have to look into it, but I don't remember another team working up at the same time as 5 TAC 1.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I don't remember another team getting into country with us.